Today we're going to talk about a mammoth topic. There's gonna be some deep rabbit hole shit, everybody. I'm going to try and go through as much information as I can from the beginning, so whether you're a newbie to this topic or have a hate boner for this person as many people do, this is the video for you, I guess. At the time of recording this, Amberlynn's channel had around 99k subs, and her latest video is called Taking a Break. Obviously now I'm coming back to it to actually record it, that's changed, but it's not really that relevant to the things that I'm talking about, so I'm gonna ignore those videos. You can always go and watch them yourself if you hate yourself. Her channel was started in 2011 and she has over 1,000 videos. She, at first glance, has the typical vlogger channel, and there's a lot of those eating videos that I don't understand why people like, where someone just eats and talks about basically nothing for the entire video. Throughout you can see her mentioning weight loss every now and again, and also a variety of women appear to be in her videos for a little while and then are never seen again. Okay, the way I phrased that, I meant that they just left the channel, but I know I made it sound like she's a serial killer. I didn't mean that. The only thing that she murders is food. But that's the overview. I know you probably have a lot of questions, so let's start with the vlogs and try to answer as many of them as possible. Amberlynn basically acts like she makes a weight loss channel. She wants to seem like she makes weight loss content. She originally started her channel to track her weight loss. However, for someone who is able to have their camera with them everywhere, every single time they go to Walmart, every single time that she says she did something at the gym or she wanted to do a weigh-in, she either forgets her camera or something went wrong. Also, if you look at her first couple videos and compare it to now, she has definitely gained a lot of weight. According to her, she does have a nutritionist and dietitian, yet she doesn't seem to ever follow any advice from those people and has never really shown any proof that she has one. If you don't really know who she is but you've heard the name before, she has actually been in the spotlight, so to speak. You've probably heard of her from the BetterHelp controversy. PewDiePie did a video talking about how people promote them and they don't diagnose or aren't professionals to diagnose or anything, and things along those lines. He shows a clip of Amberlynn with her face blurred out, and Amberlynn herself claims that she got diagnosed by the people at BetterHelp for an overeating disorder, which she basically phrases to try and excuse how much she is eating in comparison to how much she's actually doing weight loss. And as stated before, they do not diagnose, so it's kind of weird that that happened. Also, she was never sponsored by them as far as I know, she just kind of said it, I guess because it has some sort of outlet for her to use as a crutch for why she's not doing what she said she would. This isn't the first time that she has used this though. You'll find her bringing up all of these sort of mental health things and anything under the sun like this a lot. There's a 7-minute video on the subject done by herself, and she explains her life. I will double speed some of this and just summarize the rest because I know you don't want to listen to the whole thing.
Scenarios, rumors, and situations to manipulate other people's opinions of me. I'm not a liar, I'm not a deceiver to prove myself. I'm the girl who buys tons of jewelry to somehow hide behind a super morbidly obese body. I buy tons of journals to write a story I feel like I'm never going to complete. I'm moody, I'm a mess, I'm restless, I'm depressed. I'm the girl who hasn't left her bedroom in 5 days. Of course I leave to go to the bathroom or to get something to eat. I haven't brushed my hair in about a week. I feel defeated, lonely. I do YouTube for a living. From a very, very toxic and unhealthy family. When I was 9, I was taken from class by a cop who took me and my brothers to a children's shelter. From then on, I became a ward of the state, and I was in foster care until the age of 18. In school, I was known as Fat Amber. On YouTube, I'm known as the most hated YouTuber. I don't cry for views, I don't eat for views. I live my life, although a dull one, and I just want to share it with everyone out there. When my reality is different than yours, and really you're just going off of biased opinions. I love to dance, and I love to sing. I have 3 fur babies that I love dearly. 2 cats and a dog. My cats are Wasabi and Rarity Gray, and my dog is Twinkie Star. Both my parents and my brother have been homeless before, so I have seen the true meaning of living a homeless life. I feel like my thoughts are hard to convey. Everything within my mind is just jambled and confused. Right now, I'm struggling. I'm caught in a situation where I don't know if it's my antidepressant making me worse, or if my depression is so bad that Lexapro just doesn't work for me. Why me? I constantly wonder, why was I chosen to go through the things I went through? To become 529 pounds, to have depression, and to have a whole huge online community hate me for something that isn't true. With someone in there in a bad mood, I automatically take on their emotions, and I become kind of in a bad mood. If I see someone crying, if they're a stranger, I follow suit, and I feel their pain. To have that empathetic personality, it's bittersweet. Not only do I take on the role of feeling everyone else's emotions, but I also have to deal with mine.
To summarize, she might have had some rough stuff in her life. However, instead of actually trying to approach her new struggles in life and try and overcome the ones that she had in her childhood in a healthy way, she repeatedly uses this as a crutch to continue her behavior, including diagnosis of mental illnesses and conditions that may or may not exist at all. She is also a pathological liar and doesn't really care about whether or not anyone really believes her, because she knows that the majority of people who watch her and hate viewers. I mean, everyone would kind of see that from the like to dislike and whatnot. And she kind of uses this, well, what I've noticed personally is she kind of uses this as a cycle that kind of continues the behavior that she wants. For example, she gets hate watchers, and from there she plays the victim and she gets all of these videos out about controversies and everything, and then from there she gets more hate watchers and the cycle can continue. Let me give you a bit of a taste of that by looking at 2 videos that are recent and do have quite a few views in comparison to a lot of the other ones, because this is really hard to script, and in order to make it coherent we gotta kind of ease into it. Let's start with a video called Spilling the Tea. Now from looking at it, you'd think that she has some really big drama or news to talk about with some other YouTubers or people in her personal life, because that's how people usually use that phrase. Whether you like the phrase or not, you know the meaning behind it. And as you can see, it does have quite a few more views than some of the other ones because of the title and because of the thumbnail as well, where she's looking quite upset. The video was uploaded on the 26th of December, and she doesn't know that it's after Christmas. She has to check it first, and then she launches into a Q&A out of nowhere where she makes a post on the community tab and reacts to the questions in real time. As you can see, the tame as shit. If you will look into the comments and you'll see that a lot of people don't, reflect the sentiment that she's trying to show.
Christmas was yesterday. Christmas was yesterday, and if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a great Christmas. Questions are coming in fast. Oh my god. I'm gonna try to answer as many as I can. Lucy Caldwell asked, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who and why? Love you, girl. What made you unblock Zachary Michael, and have you watched any Michael B. Petty videos? I unblocked Zach because I had to ask him a question because I wanted to film reaction videos to the videos reacting to me, if that made sense, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, like to get the little video down here like how Zachary does it. So I asked him for advice on that, and I unblocked him so he could reply to my message, because I'm pretty sure I had to unblock him to do so. And no, I do not watch Michael B. Petty videos. I ain't got time for him.
Hey guys, so I'm editing this now, and I just want to say that I did go into a live stream of Michael's one time, but that was it. I totally forgot, so I just figured I would add that in here.
Sarah Barva.
So they're just asking about vlog schedules, her health. Obviously I'm kind of speeding through some of this just to get the point across, but I'll be linking everything that I'm showing here so you can see it for yourself, that I'm not taking it out of context, of course. She goes to rant about how she hates that people think everyone in her life is an enabler because she sees everyone saying that all the time. And I mean, it's true, but we'll get to that later. The only thing about spilling tea that's vaguely around what this phrase actually means is how she had someone blocked, but then she unblocked them because she needed them to teach her about something on a computer. Google is a thing, but apparently not. And then she blocked them again afterwards. Just Google the question, god. But that's it. It's the tea spilling of the most clickbait variety. There really isn't anything. I had to put the video on 1.5 speed because it was really boring. Let's take a look at the other one that is more recent, Taking a Break, with that sad face in the thumbnail. As you can probably guess, it's probably something like, she has some sort of issue that she needs to deal with, like burnout or something, and she wants to take a break. You'd think it would be a clear and concise thing where she talk about it first, and then maybe if she wants to have something else in the video afterwards get into a vlog, but no. The first 4 minutes of the video is her talking about clothes, which she seems to buy a lot of. Then she talks about you now and vlogging, and then she complains about clothes again and how she's going to a birthday party. Then she talks about clothes again, and way at the end of the video we see that she is going to take a break for a tiny bit, and that's about it.
I'll be like, it didn't turn out right, then they'll probably like give you another meal, but this is going in the trash. Just have the trash out here to make it easier while we eat. I don't know why I'm singing, but oh my god, the back of my head. Who am I? I need like a bobby pin or something. Okay, so I've officially decided I think I'm gonna take just a small break.
So even from the standpoint that we are at now, we have someone who obviously does not really want to give you a title that's too accurate, and even that alone you could criticize, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. In this video you see that she's mentioned something called Becky, and that is her current girlfriend.
And Becky, like, I received that tweet.
This brings us to another fun little point. People who like to follow and archive the stuff that Amberlynn does, whether it be on Kiwi Farms or just somewhere else entirely, kind of segment the parts of her life that they're talking about through the label of era, depending on the girlfriend that she has. For example, Becky era, Casey era, and so on. This is a good way to get into some of that bad, genuinely bad shit that she does. So we're going to use the Casey era as an example of this, and this is the not so fun part. So this is a You Now live stream that Casey did, and I'm saying Casey, I'll be referring to Casey as he because apparently he underwent female to male, or is undergoing that, and I'm not actually sure what his current name is, so I'm just using Casey for brevity. Apologies in advance, I guess. So he did a live stream sort of talking about his version of events for why they broke up, because as you'd probably figure out, Amberlynn likes to talk about a lot of personal things, especially not really giving too much of a courtesy to the people that she breaks up with. So Casey describes some very, very horrible things, including a very serious domestic abuse where Amberlynn started hitting him, and just genuinely being a liar.
With your fans, your subscribers, be truthful. Don't lie. Don't hide yourself behind lies, because that all it leads to chaos, and it leads to all this. And yes, you may lose subscribers, and you may lose friends, and you may lose supporters if you come clean with certain things, and you come clean with stuff you've lied about. Because as I'm reading right here, people have caught you in lies. I wouldn't necessarily say thrown, but I fell back on the bed, and she just continued to hit. God, I was just trying to at least block my face, but just hit and slap, and then she slammed the door and took off walking to the store. That was the worst. That was the scariest and worst.
You'll see this is a sort of common thing where someone will break up with her and that person will go on to correct everything that Amber says as if there's some sort of horrible lie going on. Even her own family member does this. Her aunt goes on Kiwi Farms and corrects things that Amber has lied about. So the thing that I mentioned about a rough childhood beforehand, that might not even be true. I only really started taking a look at this, or remembered to, while I'm recording it right now, so that's going to be a bit disorganized, but I'll try and leave a link to some of that stuff. So going back to the Casey live, so we have some domestic abuse allegations here in this one, and I don't know, you can see from Casey's face that he really went through some bad shit. And another thing from the live stream that I want to mention is Amberlynn likes to sort of co-opt some of the problems that her girlfriends have. So for instance, if you say that you have anxiety and you're dating her, she will also suddenly be diagnosed with anxiety. If you mention that you have depression, then she will mention that she has depression pretty much afterwards. So she kind of either has to one-up them or has to match them. She also, to demonstrate this even further, has two different coming out stories that differ in their legitimacy. But I'll link that and leave it for you to look at later. Amber Exposed is a thing that I'm using for a lot of the clips that Amber has either taken down or just, it's a hassle to find them. So any of the white text that you see, that comes from that. Let's not forget that this was supposed to be a weight loss channel, and that's where my problem is. If she wants to be the way she is now, and she wants to continue living her life and just doing an eating thing, she doesn't really give a shit about losing weight, that's fine. I'm not gonna go up to someone and continuously badger them about what I think their weight should be. I really don't care. I mean, I named the title what I did because I just thought it was funny, but honestly, it's not a big deal. There are plenty of people who just don't give a shit and they continue to do this stuff. And that's fine to me because they're not promoting it. They're not acting as if this is something that you should do or something where you should show them pity for it, as if it's not their responsibility to try and pick themselves up. And as long as you're not trying to make it look like it's anyone else's problem, I respect your choice to just live your life. The problem that I have with this is that she wants to be known for the sort of achievement of everything. She wants to be this person who's just putting her life out there and just doing her thing, but she also wants to be known as this person who is doing this weight loss struggle when she's clearly not. You can't have both of those things at once if you're not, trying. This is something that I'm kind of echoing from what other people say about her as well. That she's not consistent on weight loss, but she wants to have both sides of it. She wants to have the weight loss side of it and get the props from people telling her that she's really supporting herself well and changing and doing all of these responsible things, but she's not actually doing anything. And she also wants to be known as just the vlogger who's not supposed to be doing anything else and having this sort of relaxed community when she's not doing that either. So, for an example, in the Becky era, we have a video where she goes to Walmart and people clocked onto the fact that she used a mobility scooter, as you can see in the camera thing, and the fact that the camera that she's holding is much lower than it should be. And then, as soon as people started pointing that out, she made a video saying that she's using a scooter when she could clearly walk on her own. She walked into the store on her own and she seems to be on her feet just fine.
I have been using a scooter lately, and I just want to be honest with you guys. It's only been recently. My, just being bigger, everything is harder for me. It's been harder for me to walk. My asthma's been worse, and ever since I've been sick, every time I walk, I cough a lot. So I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but I'm just, being honest, so. Honesty is the best policy.
She made it seem like she was the one who made the decision to disclose the fact that she was on a scooter when she was clearly doing it way before and trying to keep it a secret. Another thing to say about that is if she was going to do weight loss, she would have tried to walk by leaning on the trolley or doing something else that I have seen much heavier people do because they were actually trying. It's possible, it really is, but she claims that there's a myriad of reasons for why she can't actually do that. And she talks about having bad anxiety and her size is a big issue and is making her feel bad, and I mean, that's not really wrong. I'm not gonna say that that isn't true. Then she goes and does things like wears dresses backwards to try and show her cleavage with the thing that you're supposed to tie up in the back. And it just kind of makes you wonder, why is she doing that? It just seems a bit inconsistent. It's another example of trying to have both things when you really can't if you're doing it the way she is, for example. Because she is claiming that she has all of these big issues with her weight and she's trying really hard and she just, every day is a big struggle for her to even come in front of the camera. And I get that. But then if you immediately show yourself trying to show as much of your skin as possible and trying to make more space for your cleavage to show through, it just looks a little inconsistent to me. Because you look like a titty streamer. Couple that with the eating videos, which we'll talk about now. She will eat a huge serving of dry pasta and then down it with a can of soda, or she'll just have multiple servings of huge fast food proportions, and then people call her out on that and how it's going against her supposed weight loss. And she says something about a dietitian that she blocked, or she'll say something about gastric bypass or something like that. Now it seems to me that she doesn't really know anything about those because she acts like you can just walk in and treat it like magic, just go up to the surgeon or go up to the doctor and say, well, I want to have weight loss surgery now, and he'll just snap his fingers and everything will be fine. When in reality, most people, if they're over about 500 pounds, they have to come back down to 500 or even less. I think a lot of people would have to be 300 pounds before they're able to actually be considered to get for weight loss surgery because it is such a dangerous thing. And it gets even more dangerous the heavier you are. So a lot of people will just say that 300 pounds is the most they can do because the risk would get too high. And seeing as she doesn't really appear to know that just shows how little effort she's really putting into it, and she thinks that it's just magic. And she's wondering why it's not easy to do, yet she doesn't even try. With all of this in mind, however, remember what I said about how she gets angry when people say that everyone she knows is an enabler? Honestly, it seems like she does have a lot of enablers in her life. Because she clearly gets her food from somewhere, and she isn't getting it herself. If you look at all the times that she has ridden a scooter in Walmart and whatnot, it is clear that someone else is letting her get this food. She made an entire video about how her bed is on the floor and she falls over so many times a day that her girlfriend has to pick her up. There is clearly some damage being done, and she's getting encouragement to just eat more, I suppose, when if you would see that happen to your loved one and you would see all of the damage that this is doing to their body and the shape that their body's in, you should definitely not be letting them get fast food as many times. This is clearly a really dangerous, irresponsible way to treat your loved ones if they're really not supposed to be eating that much and you're letting them do that or even getting the food for them. It really seems like that's the case here. Before we get to our closing statements and my opinions, here are some random bits of other information that I'm just gonna kind of jam into the script because I am not good at this. So the original title of this video was supposed to be Rage Against the Food Pyramid, but I'm kind of saving that for another one. I have a feeling there's going to be another one. Maybe not about her, but there's going to be another one. After the Casey era, Amber did this slam poem about Casey and basically said that Casey raped her. As I said, very serious allegations are being made, but in my opinion, Casey clearly has more evidence, especially considering the whole domestic abuse thing. It is really sickening that Amberlynn made a video basically alleging that she was raped by the person that she probably did domestically abuse, that she seemed to treat very, very badly during the relationship. It kind of just shows you, as I said, it's more of a side thing that I'm talking about here, but it's kind of a side thing that shows you the mindset of Amberlynn when she would want to do stuff like that. There's some speculation about the first girlfriend, Crystal, who's particularly awkward on camera because she clearly doesn't want to be there, but Amber forced her to. There is speculation because that she was paid by Crystal's parents to hang out with Crystal, so this led to Amber moving on to date. I'm not entirely sure where this came from. I'm not sure if it came from Kiwi Farms or somewhere else. I think there was a sort of Facebook post at one point, and I can't find it anywhere, so I'm just kind of including this in case you wanted to know and look for it, but you don't have to take it at face value. She does her Christmas vlog so early that she did one in November, where she bought many gifts for her next girlfriend, Destiny, and a lot of people think that this is Destiny basically being guilted to stay in the relationship, and that video is super awkward too. And lastly, we're going to move on to my very confusing, disorganized thoughts on the matter. Amberlynn is clearly unhealthy. She's a death fat, and she has some very unhealthy obsessions with mean comments on the internet to fuel her own victim complex, which again is very unhealthy. I clearly have no problem with the idea of people of any appearance, shape or size making content and just being themselves. My problem isn't even Amber's size, as I said, it's her attitude. And that's what she uses it for, and the fact that she is an unhealthy size in my opinion is something that feeds into that. Even if she was an unhealthy size and just continued to be herself and own it and accept responsibility for it and not try to blame it on other people, I really wouldn't care. But the fact that she is doing all of this and clearly being an unhealthy size and clearly having many health problems, that just adds to it. If someone uses their size for victimhood and lies and makes excuses for it, this is genuinely just someone who's a horrible person in my opinion. And makes serious allegations like this, like rape on top of it, it just makes it worse. I think this is something that clearly shows how your attitude can really put you in a horrible position, especially if you're very close to crossing a very dangerous line with weight or something like that. It could just push you even further, and it also shows you that no matter how much advice or help that you get, no matter, if you really do have a dietitian or whatever it may be, if you do not accept the help yourself, and if your mindset is just completely blocked, completely closed off to any criticism on your part, you are not going to get any help. It is not a miracle. It's not just a snap of the fingers. You can't just get weight loss surgery or whatever you need with a snap of the fingers, just as soon as you want to. There are huge risks involved. You'd still need to do some work yourself. That's the entire point of trying to take responsibility. And this is clearly an example of someone who doesn't, and I think that that's really dangerous. It's also just really interesting to talk about from this perspective. It's interesting to look at someone you can see in real time going through these things, to the point where you can see a drastic difference between the first and the most recent videos that they've uploaded in terms of their appearance or any other actions that they've made. And it does demonstrate a very dangerous mindset, a very dangerous environment. If Amber has these issues and she really isn't getting better or getting healthier or anything by being online, I'll return to wanting both things at once. Once again, she acts like she has these really huge issues, and that might be the case, but being online then would clearly be a detriment to her, and a detriment to her health because she wouldn't really be able to handle it, and there's clearly a lot of people that don't like her. So my question is, why would you want to be known for having all of these crippling issues, yet you also want to be known as someone who just kind of vlogs and puts everything out there on the internet, including very personal things and very serious allegations? You can't have both of those things without being criticized. And I think I've rambled enough, so that's my problem with Amberlynn Reid. And if she continues this behavior, it will only get worse. And if you didn't know who she was, you probably wish you still didn't, but if you ever feel like you want to give up and you don't want to turn your life around, this is a good example of what will happen. That sounded really mean, but that's really true as well. Anyways, bye now.